If you believe $600 is going to change your life, you're stupid.
Dave Ramsey used to be my biggest personal finance hero. I used to love almost everything he produced, and even still give him credit for helping me navigate my own financial catastrophe over a decade ago. But today I'm going to outline 4 reasons that I stopped following Dave Ramsey long before all of this drama around the federal lawsuit and the departure of Chris Hogan emerged, which I cover extensively in this video. So let me rapid fire the 4 reasons, and then we'll go into more detail for each of them in a moment. Number 1, I graduated. Number 2, I actually started coaching students myself. Number 3, my experience with their preferred coaching program. And number 4, Dave's emerging public persona and interaction with his audience. So while I understand that this content is probably going to ruffle some feathers on both sides, the Dave fanatics and the Dave haters, I ultimately want to encourage all of us to engage in a critical thinking exercise, which I wholeheartedly believe that Dave would actually endorse. Let's get into it. Hey friend, it's Brad Long here with Zero Debt Coach, where we help 5- and 6-figure corporate burnouts escape their corporate cult by helping them organize and optimize their financial lives, obliterate debt, and accelerate toward financial independence by starting and growing an online business. I've actually debated with myself for years as to whether or not I should actually make this video, but I think ultimately it's important to have an honest discussion about my reasons for unhitching my wagon from Dave Ramsey and his organization. So as we're jumping in, 4 important personal facts I want to include in full disclosure. 1, I've never been an employee of the Dave Ramsey organization. 2, I did go through Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University curriculum back in 2004, and following that system, I was able to pay off over $174,000 worth of debt in 2.5 years. That's consumer debt and mortgage debt combined, and I give Dave and his system a ton of credit for giving me a solid framework to work through all of that. 3, in 2017, I spent just under $1,800 to matriculate through Dave Ramsey's Financial Coach Master Training Program, which included a 3-day live event at his offices outside of Nashville, Tennessee, so that I could become a Ramsey certified coach. And 4, throughout all of that involvement, I was also an unpaid coordinator for some of his local Financial Peace University classes. So I was an all-in fanboy for years and used to love Dave's brand of what I considered tough love and harshness. So much so that I even bought dozens of copies of his materials to give to friends and family to teach them the principles and subsequently to start my own financial coaching career. As we're getting into the 4 reasons, I want you to remember something. The entire point of Dave's platform is not for any of us to follow his advice hook, line, and sinker, or to agree with every single opinion and perspective that he has. No, the point of his platform is to really train you to be able to think critically for yourself and to act for yourself in your own best interest, especially when it comes to the complicated and emotional subject of personal finance. So reason number 1, I no longer follow Dave Ramsey. I graduated. In my opinion, Dave's material is excellent for people who are in the same position I used to be, which is to say broke, in debt, almost completely financially illiterate, and no budgeting skills, and desperate to make a change. So in short, I graduated from what I think is the best part of Dave's platform and advice, and that is his 7 baby steps, particularly for the debt elimination piece. Now, as I developed my own critical thinking skills and actually started coaching real life students later on down the road, I discovered that there were tons of things that he's really just plain wrong about. Number 1, credit cards. He has what's called a straw man argument that goes something like this. I never met a millionaire that said he got rich off using credit cards for airline miles and rewards points. And of course, you haven't, because that guy doesn't exist. No one would ever say that. That's called a straw man argument. That's when someone takes another person's argument or point, distorts it or exaggerates it in some kind of extreme way, and then attacks the extreme distortion as if that is the claim the first person is making. Yes, some folks should not ever use credit cards, but some people, like my wife and I, can use them responsibly to do things like save tens of thousands of dollars on airline tickets over the past decade, as an example. 2, Credit score. A zero credit score like Dave has can totally work for you if you're a decamillionaire like Dave is. But it's totally unrealistic for most people. Most of us still need to have some semblance of a credit score to help us do important things like rent or buy real estate or get reasonable rates on insurance, just to name a couple of examples. Number 3, in my opinion, his investing advice is too basic and outdated for most people. Great if you're just starting out, but you have to graduate to a much more customized investment strategy and constantly increase your investment acumen if you want to win in investing. And number 4, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Here again, he employs the funny money straw man argument, where he at least projects an appearance that he knows little to nothing about the crypto space. With major investment banks like Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and insurance companies like Mass Mutual getting in, it looks like crypto is here to stay. So whether you're into it or not, you should at least familiarize yourself with it, which you can do in this video right here. Much more to say about this, but I'll leave that there for now. There are many more points to make, but this sufficiently buttresses the fact that I graduated from Dave's program. Reason number 2, I no longer follow Dave Ramsey. I actually started coaching real life people myself. Once I actually started coaching students myself, I quickly realized that Dave's one-size-fits-all advice does not work and is not palatable for most people. Again, the principles are solid, but the coaching process has taught me that you have to meet people where they are, find out what they need the most, then help them to adhere the principles to their circumstances in a way that 1, they can understand, and 2, is palatable enough for them to stay engaged. Real quick, if you're into this kind of content, a free way that you can support us is by giving us a thumbs up or double smashing that thumbs down button and leaving us a comment letting us know what you had for breakfast, and hit the subscribe button if you're liking what you see. Reason number 3, I no longer follow Dave Ramsey. My personal experience with the Ramsey Preferred Coaching Program. Like I mentioned earlier, I've been a wholehearted fanboy of Ramsey Solutions for over a decade, and I was an enthusiastic entrant into the Financial Coach Master Training and the Preferred Coaching Program. But after about a year and a half in the program, I realized that 1, the instructors were all employees of Dave Ramsey's organization and not small business owners like we as coaches are. Nor were they online entrepreneurs like many of us were aspiring to be. So there seemed to be a lot of platitudes when it came to coaching us on how to actually run our businesses, but not a lot of real world perspective that a small business owner would possess. This reality also leads me to point number 2. There wasn't a real understanding of how to build a business online. The coach training was great in terms of structuring and the process of coaching, but wasn't really preparing me for online entrepreneurship, which is what I really wanted. Number 3, the coaching methodology requirements we as coaches were expected to follow were, in my opinion, just too restrictive, and I felt creatively cramped and pigeonholed into Dave's way of doing things. Real coaching students need flexibility in some areas in order to be encouraged to stay engaged, like I said before. And number 4, like I mentioned in a previous video, they very cavalierly raised my monthly subscription rate for the Preferred Coaching Program 150% with an announcement during a Zoom call, and immediately canceled my membership when I respectfully expressed dissent. So those are some of the reasons I left the Preferred Coaching Program, and I've had many conversations with current and former coaches who have had very similar experiences. Reason number 4, I no longer follow Dave Ramsey. Dave's public persona and the way he talks and responds to certain parts of his audience. Now, I will say that his in-your-face sort of tough love is something I actually used to be a fan of back in my own debt elimination days. A decade ago, I was a fan of it because I recognized the foolishness in me and in my practices that Dave was talking to, and I knew I needed that tough love, and I never felt like he went too far with it back then. But as the years have passed, I can't help but feel that this tough love Dave has turned into, in my opinion, more of an abusive Dave. To illustrate, I want to show a clip from a recent, rather insensitive rant he did about people who need stimulus checks.
$600 changes your life really sucks. Well, it's not enough, or you're not allowed to talk about not getting it because apparently it is freaking life-changing. And I just didn't know because I'm an elite boomer. What asinine people? I mean, some of you people have lost your dad-blame minds out there. If you really believe $600 is going to change your life, you're an idiot.
Right.
If $600 or $1,400 completely changes your life, you're screwed. If you believe $600 is going to change your life, you're stupid. You should be ashamed.
So I just don't think it's appropriate as a professing Christian, especially, to call people stupid or idiots, no matter how right you think your perspective is. And this alone is probably now the biggest reason that I just no longer throw my recommendation behind his platform or the delivery of his content. So, am I telling you to stop following Dave Ramsey? No, not necessarily. At the end of the day, the principles are the principles, and they are solid. They always will be and always have been. My only admonition is to look more closely at Dave's current delivery of the principles and of the organization itself, and ask yourself if you're okay with the way that they are postured. But if you're not okay with it, ultimately we as consumers vote with our attention and with our currency. And if we are in vehement disagreement with an influencer's approach, the easiest way to show that disapproval is the withdrawal of both attention and funding. So I'm interested in hearing your thoughts about this. Leave a comment below telling me, do you agree? Am I missing anything? Where am I wrong? Also, let me know what you had for breakfast. Now, if money, debt, and financial chaos is something you struggle with and you constantly feel isolated about, I've got some great news for you, and it's free. Our private Facebook group, Zero Debt Tribe. It's a group of like-minded people that are all somewhere along this paycheck to paycheck, debt elimination, and on their way to financial independence continuum. So click the link in the description box below and apply to join us. So we're all about taking action around here. So I wanted to offer you this free little resource that will help you get your finances organized and on track, and in less than 4 hours. It's called our Debt Elimination Quick Start Guide, and the link is in the video description. How can Zero Debt Coach help you? 4 ways. 1. Subscribe to the channel and click the notifications bell to make sure you get our new videos every week. 2. Download one of our free personal finance guides. You'll learn some of the exact strategies I teach my private coaching students on how to organize and optimize their finances, obliterate their debt, and move on to financial independence by starting and growing online businesses. 3. If you're looking for a community of motivated and like-minded people, go ahead and get on the waiting list to join our private financial coaching community. We only open it for new students a couple of times a year, so make sure you get on the wait list now. Number 4. If you need some help right now because you've got a burning issue, you need a problem solved, you want to talk through a complex situation, go to ZeroDebtCoach.com and click on the Become a Student button. And finally, check out one of these videos and keep on building your financial acumen. Let's make this your best year yet. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.